You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And we have good and abundance today, overflowing with an amazing being who's going to awaken your very essence with his transformative art and his discussion of what it's like to live in the world of the mind of art and what art is. So get ready, put on your seatbelts because you're in for so much fun. And of course, you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you tuned in to this show for one reason and one reason only. And it's the best reason, by the way, in the entire world. The reason you tuned in is because you care the most in the entire world about you. YOUEWE, because you know when you're the best you make the world a better place. You can be able to create more bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And we need you. You are the reason the world was created, to be able to bring forth your unique being into the world, to live exuberantly. And so at this very moment, you are joined, thank God, around the world by approximately 349,613 people, all of whom are tuned in consciously and conscientiously to the joy of living because they care about themselves. You care about you. And that's great because when we join together, we can make the world a better place. We can literally wipe out the joy deficit and create a joy surplus without printing trillions of dollars. And it's all up to each one of us individually. And that the benefit of all of this, of course, is that when you live in joy daily, no matter the circumstances, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? And you know why? Because, on this show, and thank you, by the way, to about 325,000 people plus every single week who tuned in now for the past few years. And I thank you. You're always inviting your friends to join in. And by the time we finish the show, we'll probably have over 360,000 people. Come in and learn about what we do here, how to live in joy daily, because we work with the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals are, number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, you can make a difference. That's number two. Go mad, we call it. MAD stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference. And number three is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simplest example, right now, this particular show is being carried over the internet. Throughout the world, people all over the world are listening and enjoying and sharing. And if you ask anybody, what does WWW stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? WHATA. And a big tip of the hat and a thank you to Louis Armstrong Satchmo for enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. When you hear even the opening bars of that song, what do you do right away? You can't help it. You smile. And smile is one of the most important words you could ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life. Because SMILE is an acronym that stands for Seeing Miracles in Life every day. Every day. Now, I got to tell you, before COVID, and thank God we're getting through it, it will be gone. Won't even be in your memories in a couple of years. But right now, we're just passing through this. But just pre-COVID, I was speaking to a group physically. Imagine that, human beings getting together, no mask and all kinds of stuff. It was wonderful. It was just before COVID, a couple of weeks actually. About 5,200 people in the audience. I'm telling the story about Barry Shore, and I'm talking about people about smiles, seeing miracles in life every day, and people raising their hands say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours, I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you stand? I can't. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat, place to sleep, family, friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. Now, what's the story of Barry Shore? Imagine standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening be in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. And not from an automobile accident, not a spinal injury. A rare disease took over my body and rendered me a quadriplegic. Nothing on my body moved. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, from my hips to my ankles, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a tripod, not a biped. I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. And it's all because of this one word, smile, seeing miracles in life every day. I got to tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. He says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile, S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world that she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a wonderful acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking, something called neuro-linguistic program. We do it for ourselves. We are the ones in control of our thoughts. We choose to think the way we do, because the 6 most important words you'll ever hear, internalize, utilize in your life are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Thank God you have a brain. Your brain has 100+ billion brain cells and more than 120 trillion synapses connecting all those brain cells. And they're there for more than just deciding what kind of latte you want this morning. The ability to be able to choose and literally program yourself for choice of happiness, good health, and wealth. And I guarantee it, or your money back. Guarantee it, or your money back. Now, before we bring on our amazing guest, I want to warn everybody in advance that your humble host, Barry Shore, does use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word. I do it because it's fun and the shock value. But the 4-letter words that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, give, live. I said live. Pray, play, swim, fish, 4-letter words. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun. That's right. F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, of course, some people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore. Fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and your friends, you have a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face. Remember that stands for. Point your finger and say, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you get that? I said, I listen to Barry Shore, the joy of living. He wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. It's a good way to start a conversation and talk about joy, happiness, peace, and love. So before we bring on our amazing, interesting guest who's going to enlighten us and enlarge our consciousness with mind-expanding art information, I'd like everybody to do the following. Now, I know the people who've been watching and listening for years already doing this and making a difference in the world. You make a difference in your life, the life of your family, your friends, and all the world. I want you to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, Thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And it's always possible, he says. So imagine going into your coffee shop, no mask, no COVID. Walking in the coffee shop, you sit down, you order your fancy latte for $5, and you sit down and somebody in a few minutes brings it to you. You say, thank you. You walk into the coffee shop and you order your fancy latte for $5. You sit down, a few more minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. So you go to the counter, you say, what happened? They say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot. We're so busy. We'll bring it to you. Sit down, please. You sit down, a couple more minutes go by, and then finally somebody brings it to you. Still say, thank you. Imagine you're walking out of the coffee shop. It's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining out. Somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're in traffic. You're late for an appointment. Somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get up in the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. And I can't think of anybody that I'd like to share with you at the moment who does inspire noble deeds, along with his wonderful wife, Katie, than our own John Morris. John, are you there? Can you say hello to 349,613 people around the world?
Well, folks, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Barry, for having me on. Boy, oh boy, did I get to hear a lot about you there. I know we've really just met, and my goodness, I downloaded so much information right there about you as a person. Your energy is phenomenal, and I'm so excited to do this. And folks, as Barry said to me before I went into the green room, you know, you ain't seen nothing with this show. We're going to have some fun, and Barry, thank you so much for this. I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're happy to have you here. Now, John Morris, as you see on your screen, it says artist, or as we say in Boston, artist, author, and then it says a DE. I have no idea what the D is for, but we'll find out a little bit. But the point is that you hear that John has a funny way of speaking, and he wears an interesting jacket, or maybe it's a smoking jacket, but he doesn't smoke. And you see that he has rampaging elephants right behind him about to stomp on him. So we're going to blend all that together and discuss some of the most interesting parts of what John brings to the world, because he does. He brings to the world a very positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant aspect of life, which is fundamentally that of expanding the consciousness by using art. Now, art to me is an acronym that stands for Awakening Remarkable Transformation. Awakening Remarkable Transformation. So, John, with that as an intro, I'd like you to take it from here and talk to us about what art is for you and how you relate with art to the people that you work with.
You know, art for me has always been an outward expression of my inward soul, and that's what art is. You know, and that got an eyebrow raised from Barry, so that's a good one. But it's an outward expression of a person's inward soul. And you look all over the world, there are so many artists now that, you know, create all manner of different things, and you don't need to know the person to know their spirit and to know what's going on inside them. You just need to know what they're putting out there, because everything, you know, it begins with us. So for me, that's always been the core of everything that I've done. It's always been, how can I use the skills that I've got to really, really, you know, enlighten someone else? And you can do it through artwork in a phenomenal way, because when a person sees a picture, their face lights up in amazing ways. When they see the elephants in the mist that's behind me, they look at it and think, oh, well, I love the sunset colors. It reminds me of warmth. It reminds me of being in Africa, or it jogs a memory. When we paint a picture of someone's beloved dog, cat, husband, wife, whatever it might be, you know, it is literally painting memories on canvas, and memories are really powerful, powerful tools. So everything that I paint has always got a story behind it, always got somewhat of a meaning behind it. And that's what people latch onto. It's what I think inspires people around the world, and has done now for 2 decades, which is just incredible. And it's literally something that, it started out small as this little idea and then just grew and grew and grew. And every single day, you've always got more and more people that are saying, I'm so thankful for what you do. I'm so thankful for what you teach. I'm so thankful, for all the stuff that you put out there. And I just sit there and think, this is incredible. How you can take the gifts that you have on the expression of your inner side, and you can use that to touch people around the world. It's simply phenomenal. And in similar ways that you do, Barry.
So let's talk about one of the interesting words that you used. I can't mimic your accent, but you used the word us. You called it us. I call it us. Doesn't matter. US, because us in our parlance, because we love acronyms, stands for United Souls. Mm-hmm. So you chose that word to talk about art as a mechanism of uniting souls. And you also mentioned, because I'm listening to what you're saying here, is that you're now chronologically 33. Mm-hmm. Maybe an older spirit, but you're chronologically 33. And you mentioned you've been doing this for 2 decades. Does that mean that you actually began this process of touching your artistic soul at the age of 13?
Yeah. Literally, again, I've been through some amazing, experiences in my life, and the whole spiritual awakening for me is something that's always really been there. It's just sometimes you don't know it consciously. So, I was raised Roman Catholic. My gran would take me to church, but while everyone had their head bowed and was praying, I was looking up at this, 35-foot stained glass window of Jesus, and all I could see was the tenderness, the love that was there. There was no judgment that was there. I was not into, and I'm looking around thinking, why on earth is everybody else doing this? And I could never, ever just get on with that until I realized many years later, it was about conditioning. It was about the way that they had been told that they needed to behave and perform and everything. And I just never fit that role. Fast forward, 7 or 8 years to when I was 13, and I'd gone through a whole lot of, crazy stuff as a teenager. And then I got to a point where literally one night I was like, I don't want to live this. I don't want to live like this anymore. And, for probably the next 4 years, had the most incredible divine, encounters going on as a teenager. The trouble started then when you go back to the church and the institutions, because they've got the idea of what they want to, instill in you. And, this year now in 2021, it's like this keeps recurring from time to time. But this year in 2021, I've seen the most explosive growth and, again, life-changing stuff happen within me that if you just said, last year, this is what's going to happen, I think I would have been like, it sounds good. But at that point, I was like, is this ever going to, is this negativity, this anger, this bitterness of the stuff that I've gone through in work placements and things like that? It's like, is this ever going to end? Is this just the way that I was? And it was an ungodly level of anger. I mean, it was just frightening looking back now. And the crazy thing is, I tried so many times, you go to church, you do all the things basically that people tell you need to do, apart from therapy. I never went through therapy. But literally one day I'm sitting in the downstairs office, and I put on YouTube. Don't know why, don't know how, never heard of the guy before, but Wayne Dyer and his Everyday Wisdom came on, and I kid you not, within 2 hours, it was all gone. All anger, all bitterness, every single thing. And I remember going through to my wife, Katie, and saying to her, it's all gone. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, all of that stuff that I felt is just gone. And it's what now, October 2021. This has been going on for, nearly 9 months. And it's literally, I've seen the explosive growth go on. I've seen the manifestations. The reason that you and I are talking now is a result of all of these things. When you saw your inner engineering and your inner core, it's just like, wow. It really is just amazing.
So let's talk about wow. As I mentioned to you prior to the beginning, because we work with words and acronyms. WOW stands for Words of Wisdom. And what we're going to talk about, we're going to make a shift. We're going to call it Words of Wayne. Because Wayne Dyer, for anybody who doesn't know, again, thank God, there are hundreds of thousands of people listening from all over the world, over the world. China, India, Australia, throughout Africa, throughout Africa. We have numbers of people in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Uganda, not just in South Africa or in Egypt. Egypt is a country, by the way, that fascinates me, of course, because of its long history. But you're talking a country of 90 plus million people. At least 90% of them are on the borderline of illiterate. Doesn't mean they're stupid. It means illiterate and not being able to break through that institution, in their case called Islam. But the institution is so overpowering that it squashes the very soul. Again, not that Islam is bad, just that people have not been able to touch Wayne Dyer. So the reason I mention is because if you're in Latin America, Venezuela is an example today. Venezuela was at one time the wealthiest country in all of Latin America. The wealthiest, the most advanced, the most literate. Literacy was 97%. Today, 77% of Venezuelans who are still there live below the poverty line because of socialism, the institution that is the ultimate squash of the human condition, socialism, communism, etc. So why do I keep saying it? Because if you have access at all and you're listening, we urge you to share this with at least 5 people. That means 1.5 million people we touched, and learn about Wayne Dyer. Now, I want you to learn about John also. By the way, anything you want to know about John and what he does and such, it's great stuff. Just go to my website, www.barryshore.com. All the information will be, as you don't have to write anything down and listen. But Wayne Dyer, D-Y-E-R, is one of the most evolutionary figures of the past half century. And he brought to the world, as John has just described, the ability to mitigate, reduce, and even eliminate anger. I know because I am a student of Wayne Dyer's also. Thank God I was blessed with not going in with anger. I went in with happiness, and it became exponential. So I do credit Wayne Dyer. By the way, I still listen to Wayne Dyer 6 days a week, John.
Yep.
I listened to one of the things he did. I don't know if you ever heard this, and I urge you to consider getting it. He did a partnership with a fellow who did the sounds of the name of God from the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard those meditation sounds? Well, I use that 6 days a week.
Brilliant.
So everybody doesn't know what we're talking about. This is inside baseball, which, by the way, is an American term, inside baseball, because you don't have baseball in England or in Scotland where we live now.
Over here, though, we call it rounders. You know?
Yeah, whatever you call it, it's not it. Anyway, inside baseball, Wayne Dyer, W-A-Y-N-E-D-Y-E-R. Listen to anything.
Yeah.
But if you can get the meditation, but the point I'm going to make now is that Wayne and I shared a common quotation that I was in communication with him, that he loved when I mentioned it to him because he knew it, but I use it regularly. And it's a quote from Marcus Aurelius, which says, "Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of reason." Anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of reason. So and unfortunately, John was angry, or he had anger within him. The ability to let go of anger is not a simple process. Although, as he told you, it was simple. Within 2 hours, it happened. But you need to plug in to a higher frequency. See, what we're talking about when John talks about art, or as they say in Boston, art, awakening, remarkable transformation, it's the ability to understand what the word love means. Love stands for living on vibrating energy, living on the vibrational plane. When you're in the vibrational plane and not on the static plane, in vibration, you become able to live in harmony, which is what the picture behind you. I am intrigued by the picture behind you. I could talk about memories, so I want you to talk. But why is it that you went and decided to paint elephants? And I could see that somebody might look at them and think that they're static. To me, they're not. To me, they're absolutely in motion, and they're moving towards you inexorably and bringing with them their strength, their power, their positive goodness, everything about them, everything about an elephant, in my humble opinion, is positive. Because I grew up, John, as a boy, from the ages of 5, when I could first ride a bicycle, until the age of 9, I lived with my parents across the street from the city zoo. We lived in Boston. So Boston had a very big zoo, but this is the 1950s. So zoos are very different than today. They were really zoos then, where they kept things in. But I visited the elephant house, along with the lions and tigers, but the elephant house at least 5 days a week. At least. I am intimately involved with the smell, the feel, the size of elephants. So please enlighten us, as you just did. You let in more light into you. You know that? You just shafts of light.
We've got a storm that keeps coming and going here. So we've just had freak rain coming in, and then we get the sun that's beaming in.
Well, it has to be. By the way, you live in Western Scotland, and it's October. What do you expect, John?
Well, our stormy season normally doesn't come around till January, February.
Well, I don't believe that. Anyway, you got more light. Talk to us about that massive, wonderful mural behind you.
Okay, so it's probably not the answer that everybody's expecting, because I get asked it all the time, for these deep stories and things. And honestly, it was I think a part of me inside that was just like, I was during a silhouette series. So this is one of maybe 7. There's the buck in the Northern Lights, or the stag, whatever you want to call it, which is a gorgeous painting. Gosh, what else? We've got the white stallions. We've got stallions running on the beach. And this one originally started out as a silhouette series that was just designed to capture the shape of the elephants. But as I looked at it, I always looked and I thought, there's something missing here. It's not finished. It's not quite right. And that's literally where I got, really, really brave. And I was like, let's start putting in some detail. What's the worst that can happen? There is no failure. We just produce results. There's a quote from
Wait. I want you to pause and repeat this. This is a gem, everybody. I want you to hear this. See, John is an artist. Listen to what he's about to say. Please repeat it.
Okay, there is no failures, or there are no failures in life. We just produce results. If I start painting something and I think, I want to paint elephants, and it comes out like a cat, I haven't failed in painting elephants. I've just learned how to paint a cat. And what I do with the results is up to me. And that's the same with all of us. So that's really what I did with this painting, was to start going more into detail and into depth, further than I ever had. I started pushing myself further and further from a detailed point of view. And as I started doing that, more and more things opened up. And it did. I mean, it just literally started to flood with beauty. And it fast became one of my signature pieces, which is just phenomenal. And thoroughly love that.
So here are the 3 questions. Number 1. What is the medium? Is it acrylic? Is it watercolor? That's number 1. Number 2, based on what you just said, it seems like the muse got you. It was the muse that was painting. It was channeling through John, but it was the muse that was bringing this out. And number 3, now that it has become your signature painting, your signature, as it were, what is it that when people see that they're drawn to? So first of all, let's go back. What is the medium?
Okay, so the medium for this one is acrylic paint. It doesn't yellow, crack, fade, or give off harmful emissions, which is always important when you're painting. And
again, you're going to have all this information just by going to my website, and all the stuff about John will be there. Okay. So it's acrylic.
Yes.
On canvas.
On canvas. It comes already stretched and everything like that. As I say.
Oh, you don't have to stretch your own canvas?
No. These days, I've got a company in Germany that I get to do all of that for me, because the amount of orders that come in, I'm just at the point now for custom work, where it's almost like a conveyor belt. It's one after the other. Get them in, enjoy them, photograph them, do the videos, get them sent out. That's literally the way that it works.
Okay. We're going to go to a break in just a minute. So I'm going to do something really strange, which I love. Would you tell me about the jacket that you're wearing?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so a lot of coaches, a lot of authors and artists that are out there, I don't know about you, Barry, but they all look the same. Well, they all seem to be, they look the same, they dress the same. I'm not a big fan of this latest dress code with t-shirts and just really chilled out, all that kind of stuff. So I started to figure when I was doing my own show, how could I stand out? How could I be different? And I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but I started filming an art history docudrama, which is a mouthful. And all of this is very, very symbolic of what they would have worn in the Victorian era, which is where I'm writing about at the moment. We've got books coming out about it and all manner of other things. But I actually found when I put this on, I was like, people respond to you in a different way. They're curious more than anything else. So I was like, I'm comfortable with it as well. So let's go with it and see what happens. Some people say, hey,
okay,
you're going to do
so I want you to do several things. Number one, first of all, what is the material?
This one, I believe, is cotton.
Okay. I'd like you to stand up, please, and see if we can get a better picture of it. Okay, so it's a 3/4 length Edwardian style?
It is indeed, yes. Very, very comfortable. A lot of people would use it for like cosplay and things like that, and for dress up. I just use it when I'm doing these shows because I find it comfortable, and plus people remember it.
And the vest as well?
Yes, and the vest. So we have a beautiful blue, fits rather nicely.
And it's also cotton?
It's all cotton, yeah.
Very nice, thank you. But I wanted to make mention of it because it does fit you. In other words, your persona becomes your persona, and we say that clothes make the man. And it's very true. You have clothed yourself by not closing yourself, opening yourself up. And on that wonderful note, we're going to go to our sponsors who love our show, want to help us out, and we'll be back right after these brief messages. Come back, stay tuned. More John on the other side. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. honestpets.co. Well, you found it. honestpets.co, not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now. Hello, everybody. As you may know, I'm 72 and recovering from being a quadriplegic at age 55. Oh my. Now, to stay active, I swim 2 miles per day, 6 times per week. So you can imagine I know a thing or two about aches and pains. And until recently, I thought my aches and pains were a fact of life I had to deal with every day. Just part of the process of getting older and staying active. And then I tried 100% drug-free Relief Factor. Now, I've been taking their convenient packs 3 times a day. And I got to tell you, everybody, I am feeling noticeably better. Relief Factor is giving me more oomph and less, The secret is its 4 key ingredients. Each one supports a different metabolic pathway that your body uses to respond to the inflammation that is the cause of many hip, back, shoulder, and knee pains. If you have everyday aches and pains too, remember, Relief Factor is 100% drug-free and designed to be taken every day so you can get out and stay out of pain. Now, to make it as easy as possible for you to try Relief Factor, they created the 3-week quick start discounted program for $19.95. That's it, $19.95. So do what I did. Go to relieffactor.com/joy and order a 3-week quick start for yourself. You'll be glad you did. Again, claim your 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Go to relieffactor.com/joy. You'll thank me. You'll be glad you did. Best wishes. Bye now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. And a two-legged being named John Morris. And the most important part of John that you need to know is he has an amazing wife named Katie. Now, Katie is from Scotland. John is from the Midlands. For those of you who are geographically challenged, Midlands is really in the middle of the United Kingdom, Britain, as some people call it, right there in the smack in the middle. But he emigrated to the west coast of Scotland, and he's going to tell us why in just a moment. But some of the other pieces about John, we've been talking about his art. We haven't talked about his competitive bodybuilding. We haven't talked about his music, which we will. So, John, let's talk about why it is that you were attracted like a magnet to Western Scotland, really to meet wonderful, amazing Katie, who has changed your life and transformed it for the better, because you were a lost soul before that. And why did you go there, and what have you done since you've been there?
Boy, oh boy, right. Okay, so the simple, quick version of the story is I've been at a local church in Huddersfield, and was given the opportunity to take a gap year and go off and do Christian mission. And originally they were going to send me to Firstwood in Manchester. That did not work out, and was not the right place for me to be. They then presented me with a second option, which was a place called Ayr in Scotland. I know you guys pronounce it Ayr, but it's pronounced Ayr.
No. The way it's pronounced is Ayr. Yes. Is that A-Y-R-E?
A-Y-R.
So A-Y-R. That's why it's Ayr.
Yeah. And that's literally on the, as far as you can get, the West Coast, beautiful, beautiful place. And it just felt very much right to be there. So I take the gap year. I'm, working for an Episcopalian church up here. And, it comes to an end. There's no plans to renew my contract. So I'm like,
now, how old are you at this point?
I would have been 21, 22 at this point.
So you were a youth minister.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because you are a youth.
Yeah, I was literally, yeah. So they always look for someone who is young enough to be, I suppose, can get alongside the youths, but not so young that you're one of the youths. They want to have that.
You can be a role model.
Basically, yes. And as we talked about earlier on, I thought very differently. I presented myself very differently. So that was one of the appeals. And literally, I leave that place. There's a ton of political stuff that goes on. I move to a Church of Scotland, again, that's known for its political stuff that goes on. But I'm thinking, hey, it's a job. I need the money. And that's at that point where I was. And I stayed there 6 years. Now, just because it gets a little bit confusing at times. So 2010, I move up here. 2012, my art business begins to take off, and I get an opportunity to go to the United States for, I think it was a month. All manner of craziness came about when I returned back to Scotland, and very nearly ended up homeless as a result of my then best friend. Hey, these situations happen. Literally, within, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months, I met Katie. We actually met online, and it was really nice because for us, I know it was very, very unusual at that time. And I struggled telling people that we met online because it was so weird for me at that point. It was very stigma in society. But we met online, and it was nice to know that the person you were talking to and dating and things actually wanted you to be there. And you knew a bit about the person, as opposed to just dating people to see, if you're compatible. I want
to interrupt because this is fascinating. So you met Katie online,
yeah,
but she didn't live more than 20 miles away from where you were.
Yeah, that's the bizarre thing.
Remember, understand, online can mean she could be living in Bangalore.
Yeah.
But she wasn't. She was living 20 miles away, less.
Yeah. Crazy thing about that, Barry, is we had been in many of the same places and situations for 2 or 3 years, but we never actually, we weren't aware of each other's presence.
No, of course. So by the way, this is very amazing what you just said. See, awareness is the first level of consciousness.
Yeah.
What John is sharing with us is something that we're all involved in because we're all artists. We may not be using acrylics, you may not be using music, but every single person listening, watching, involved, and will be sharing with is an artist in your own life. You are the artist of your life. You are already your stretched canvas. You're ready to go. And there is no failure, as John has said. And I'm sure that if we were to look at God's cinematography, that you and Katie actually were in the same physical place at some point, 1 or 2 or 3 times. But unless one is aware, it doesn't matter.
That's it.
And so once one becomes aware of something, now you can move to the next level, which is to become conscious and now become able to share with another human being. So
Absolutely.
You began sharing with each other online.
Yeah. And I think maybe a couple of weeks later, we met, we had our first date, first meal out together, everything was lovely. And the amazing thing is, Barry, furthering what you were saying there, a lot of people go into marriage and relationships and long-term relationships. They've always got those niggling doubts and niggling things. And as I had, in previous relationships, for both Katie and I, we were married, maybe we got engaged 6-7 months after we got together. And it was literally, there was never ever a doubt. There was never a question of, is this the right thing? Is it not the right thing? It was just, we knew. And then that for us, nearly 10 years on has been, a phenomenal thing. And it stood the test of time despite going through, the battles that people face and the struggles that people are facing and so on and so on and so on, and it's at a time, for her probably, it would have been easy to walk away because it was like, John's dealing with a lot of things here. But then when you start to learn how to deal with them, it's like all of a sudden they just fall away.
So this is wonderful. I want to bring back Wayne Dyer again with us. I am a devotee of Wayne Dyer, and I've always found his name to be interesting. Last name Dyer, because no matter how you spell it, let's say if you spelled it D-I-R-E, Dyer, it sounds dire. D-Y-E-R. So dying means, to put color into something. Die also means to leave. Yeah. So all of those terms didn't apply to him. He was the essence of living. And he knew that. He had struggles. He struggled he was an addict, an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. He struggled much later in life with cancer. He struggled with his children. He struggled with his business. And yet he had such world renown, but it didn't happen for decades. Yeah. But he kept at it because he understood that he was, like all of us, an unfolding flower. We're all part of a process. When you're part of a process, not an event, then you not only can not just handle everything that comes your way, but you rejoice in what comes your way. So I said, this name of this show is called The Joy of Living. No matter the circumstances. Have you heard? I was a quadriplegic. Nothing in my body moved for years. Now I can't even get up from this chair right now. I can do this all day. You just stood up before. I have arms on my chair so I can push myself and things and get up. But I think, thank God, I'm here, I'm speaking, I can move my hands, my arms. I can't close my fingers. Doesn't matter. It's the process. I want to share with you a couple of things, John, that you might like. You mentioned, I really felt it very strongly. I felt it, that when you were in church and everybody was bowed heads, you were raised eyes, mm-hmm. and your eyes were looking at the stained glass. And the genius of stained glass is that, number one, it's different colors. So it does things with light. And light, as we know, is the essence of life. And you were looking up. You weren't moving down. Yeah. You weren't being institutionalized, as it were. You were looking up. And at that point, you didn't know this, but you had something called atonement. Now, mm-hmm. you've heard the word atonement?
Yeah. Yeah, I
want you to understand that the word atonement is not pronounced atonement. You know how to pronounce it properly?
Atonement. Go on.
Ready?
Enlighten me.
At one mint.
Interesting.
I want you to say
Very true. Very true.
At
At the moment.
that's what you experienced.
Yeah.
You didn't realize it at the time. It took
Certainly
me
not at 5 years
decades
old.
also. Now you're just realizing it. It's at one mint. And the same thing happens with this word, because you're still a minister, by the way, even though you may not be employed as a minister, but you're a minister. You minister to people. There's a terrible word that exists in the world, especially with oftentimes people who are chronologically older, but even with younger people today. There's a great feeling of loneliness in the world. People often say, I am alone. You've heard that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the reasons they do that is because they don't know how to pronounce the word. Just like at one mint is really the word, it's not atonement, it's at one mint. The word alone is not pronounced alone. It's pronounced all one.
Interesting.
When you are all one, you can put on a coat that makes you feel like you're Victorian or Edwardian. You can paint elephants. You can make overtures to this amazing, beautiful woman who became your wife. You can connect with other people. I'd like to talk about connecting with other people and what you do with painting pets. And I don't mean painting them, but painting the representative. Talk to us about this unique niche that you have of painting someone's pet. And can people throughout the world get your paintings of their pets?
Absolutely, yeah. We through the wonderful ability of the internet and now the couriers that are around the world, they literally come here to, as in the couriers come here, collect, and within probably 3 or 4 weeks, regardless of where you are in the world, you can have one of our paintings.
Do you have one handy?
Oh, yes. Now, Barry, I'm actually going to do you a world exclusive. I didn't know I was going to do this, but this painting here is part of my real ultimate signature series. It's called the Red Blossom series. I'm just going to take a moment.
We had a little bit of an internet glitch. Repeat that, please.
Okay. So it's called the Red Blossom Tree series. Okay. It's a powerful painting. This has never, ever been seen anywhere. It's a work in progress right now, but I'm going to show you this and I'm going to then tell a little bit of the story. So I've got it beside me here. And let's see if I can bring this up a little bit without the lights catching it. There we go. Hang on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Okay, so it's quite dark. This one is called the Forgotten Blossom Tree. It's not showing up as well on the camera, but we'll try and get a picture. And the story behind this is, now normally you would have a really gray background and you would have a lone tree full of color, full of life, and the grass is really, really vibrant. And the aim is that the closer you get to the tree, the more vibrant it is, the more life is there. The further away you get away from it, the less is there. And it's like a lot of people are going, and this came to me, this originally started in 2013. These series of paintings now are literally, the 7 in the series, I think they're all over the world right now, and in people's homes, which is phenomenal. I know the first one is in Texas. I know there's some in America as well. But I suppose the story behind it is it's all about standing out. A lot of people that you meet just go with the flow. They are maybe institutionalized and they just sort of flow with everything that's going on. They never ask any questions and they never have the belief that they can change anything in their life. The Red Blossom Tree is that rare person like yourself, like myself, like others that we know that stands out, that is different, that wears, the jackets, that's completely comfortable with who they are regardless, because they realize, my view is, I'm not a human being. I'm a divine spiritual being having a temporary human experience. So I'm not a human being. Obviously, I'm here in a human form, but I'm a divine spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And in a world where I can create anything that I can imagine, Bob Proctor talks about this all the time. If you can imagine it, you can literally bring it into being. And it's that simple. There's nothing that you can see, hear, touch, or taste that hasn't been thought in some way. And that Red Blossom Tree, the original one, started out, and like I said, I will send you a picture of it, that's now in Texas, but it's all about standing out. And that was the one that catapulted me into that international audience of being like, wow, that's really different. That's really unique. We've never seen anything like that before. And I was like, this is incredible. So to answer your question, the painting of pets and alpacas are some that I've actually just finished now, and very, very bizarre one, but it was all good. But literally, people got in touch with me and said, my cat's just died, my dog's just died. Or, I love my cat, I love my dog, I love my fur baby. Could you do a painting for me? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So before you know it, you're part of a lot of Facebook groups and you're getting in touch with these people. And the amount of people, it doesn't matter what kind of painting, as I said earlier on, nature paintings, pets, cats, dogs, alpacas, people that are no longer with us physically, the amount of videos that I get back that we now use for testimonial, that people burst into tears for joy. Your favorite thing, joy. And literally, I feel their energy. It's like a wave that comes over me. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. That a painting that I did with my two hands could touch somebody's life in such a powerful way is simply phenomenal. It really is.
So this is again, we started out by saying the essence of the word art is awakening, remarkable transformation.
Yeah.
That is what John's doing, as he said, with his hands, his eyes, his being. He's transforming a canvas into a mechanism to touch the mind, the heart, and the soul of someone else. So, John, I want to share with you, JOY is a great acronym. It's what you are. JOY stands for Journey of You.
Yeah.
Joy. Now, I want to share with you also, since you mentioned it, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but you mentioned it, the word self is a great acronym because it stands for recognizing that you are a soul experiencing life fully.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a soul experiencing life fully in what we call a physical being. But when you recognize that you're a soul experiencing life fully, the next part happens. You've heard the word self-talk?
Mm-hmm.
The most important speech you'll ever hear, even from Katie, is self-talk. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that what you did with when you're youth minister and other?
Yeah.
Self-talk stands for recognizing you're a soul, experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness.
Brilliant.
Teaching always love and kindness. So that's what John does with the mechanism that he calls art and the ability. And so, yes, I want you to be able to send me, we're going to post pictures of the things that you've done for dogs and cats specifically, because, and by the way, there's a way to send them to the United States. It's not prohibitive and served with such.
No, our main audience is actually the United States, then up into Canada, the UK, and Australia. That's where we send most of our stuff. So literally, it's here, there, and everywhere.
So somebody sends you a picture of their pet.
Yep.
And then you paint it.
Yeah. So they send us a picture of the pet. And sometimes working with clients, you've got to walk them through what will look good more than anything else, because you get a variety, and these people usually aren't artists. So you walk through and then literally say, right, this is going to be the best one. They give their deposit. They choose the color of frame that they want. And then literally, it's usually between 4 and 6 weeks now, just because of busyness and depending on size. They will get, a notification to say, look, this is ready. Do you love it? Do you need any adjustments? And then it's all good. And then we varnish it, wait for it to dry. We've got 4 that are waiting to dry over there. And then literally it's sent out all over the world. It's incredible.
So just to give an example, what size are we talking about? 3 feet by 5 feet?
They can vary in size. So we've, some of the smaller ones are 10 by 12 inches. We go all the way up to, I think it's 120 by 75. I think that one's in centimeters. So that's probably the size of the one behind me. So that's a good size one. We have done even bigger before.
No, keep it and general size about, let's say, 2 feet by 4 feet.
Yeah, so I mean, your general sizes are 10 by 12 inches, 12 by 16 inches, and the most common is 16 by 20 inches. 16
inches by 20 inches.
Yeah, so that's the size of the red blossom tree that I showed you.
Oh, very nice. So, and that's framed and shipped, and they run about what?
So they start from, and now to do the conversions, it's £175, which converts to $235. Then you've got your framing on top, but shipping is on us, and we do that as a thank you for your order. And then if you go into the United States, or if you go into Australia and Canada, obviously the conversion rates change and everything else.
Right, of course. Okay, first of all, I have a couple quick questions. Can you believe the time has gone by already?
I know.
Okay, so a few quick questions for you. You ready?
Go for it.
Number one, will you come back again?
I would love to, Barry, because I think we've got so much more to talk about.
Okay, number two, you have only 80 seconds to answer this question.
Okay.
Get ready. Here's the question. No, not tense. Wayne Dyer. Look. Ready? 80 seconds. What is your most fervent desire?
My most fervent desire is to see, I suppose, the manifestations of all the things that I see in my mind and how it's going to impact and change people's lives, whether it's with books, whether it's with my artwork, whether it's music, or whether it's with coaching. That's ultimately what I desire more than anything, to grow most myself, that I may be the biggest impact I can be on someone else.
For the good of the world.
Yes.
Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to give you a hug. By the way, is Katie nearby?
She is. I don't know if she's in from work yet, actually, because she's a piano teacher.
You send her out to work?
Oh, yeah. Well, I work from home. She chooses to go out to work.
Okay, thank you. She's not. She's not there.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, because I wanted it only because of that. Well, I'm going to give you a hug in front of, now we're up to 368,000 people around the world. So I'm going to tell you what HUG stands for. HUG stands for Harmonizing Unlimited Giving.
Amazing.
Harmonizing Unlimited Giving. You ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
1, 2, 3.
You're a big hugger.
Listen, of course, you've tuned in consciously, conscientiously to The Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you've been joining us with John Morris, this amazing artist, the expansion of the mind, the ability to bring forth transformation, awakening remarkable transformation. That's what art is. And because you've been listening, you tuned in purposely because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U-E-W-E, you, which is very good. Because when you become the best you possible, you make a difference in the world. Remember, we work here with the 3 fundamentals of life, which are, number 1, life. Your life has purpose, right, John?
Yeah,
and number
absolutely.
2, if you lead a purpose-driven life, you go mad. Mad stands for make a difference. Number 3, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms like WWW. What a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day, or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Then you can create the kind of world you want to live in, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. You have a brain with 100 billion brain cells, 120 trillion synapses connecting them all, and you can choose your thoughts. This is called neuro-linguistic programming. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choosing what to think and what to do, you are the decider of your fate. And when you do that, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Right, John?
Absolutely.
And who doesn't want that? And I guarantee, actually, John and I both guarantee it, or your money back. Cheerfully refunded. And because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, use 4-letter words. Yeah, use 4-letter words. Love, life, hope, grow, free, swim, pray, play, fish. And tell everybody, F you. You said, did you get that? Barry Shore told me to F you to the world. F you, capital N, capital N. Because when you have fun in your life, it's the first step towards living in joy, happiness, peace, and love. What we want to do is we want to give everybody a blessing throughout the world right now, John, throughout the world. And our blessing to everybody is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.
Woo!
That was phenomenal, sir. That was really good. Good one.
I think it's the best thing you've ever done, huh?
It's certainly up there with them, yes.
Okay, very, very nice. What I'm going to do, I'm going to send you a copy of my book electronically.
Okay.
If you were in the United States, I'd send it to you a physical copy, but you're not. And I would send you a joy package, which consists of wonderful cards. I think I may have shown you before.
Yes, I saw them on Monday night.
But I can send them to you electronically.
Okay. Brilliant. Yes.
See this? What's this?
There we go.
One second.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. I like that one.
Well, I'm going to send it to you electronically. Then you can start sharing because what did you say? You have about 15,000 people that love you.
Yeah.
So when this is, we'll let you know when this is going to be broadcast, and then you send it out and tell everybody. We should get at least 10,000 people saying, "Wow, I love John, and this is fabulous." Oh,
Brilliant.
1 second.